What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Hope you're subscribing there on iTunes or Google Play or Spotify or YouTube. And if you're checking the show out, any of those methods, I greatly appreciate it. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Devin Tyus. Met this man with the help of Twitter. He was one of the followers of the show. Asked him if he wanted to be a guest, and he was nice enough to share his time and share his stories with me. If you guys want to be on the show just like he was, send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast. Without further ado, let's get things started with Devin Tyus. Do you remember what initially got you started playing games? Was it a family member? Was it a friend? Was it some kiosk you saw at a mall? Like, what got you started?
So it was actually a birthday party. I had gone to, I want to say it was either kindergarten or first grade. I can't remember because that was ages ago. But went to a birthday party. I remember I showed up late, and all the kids were crowded around playing something on the television. I was like, what's that? And it was some little dude running around jumping, and there was bricks and boxes with question marks and coins and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is cool. What is this? And someone told me it's Nintendo. It's Mario Brothers. They just said it all matter of factly, like I should know exactly what it was at the tender age of 6.
Like, duh. What are you talking about? You don't know what this shit is?
Okay. So yeah, I was just watching them play, and I'm just sitting there like that looks real difficult. Like I don't know about this one. But it was also like the pack-in that also had Duck Hunt. So they eventually switched over to Duck Hunt, did the skeet shoot. And I was like, I think I want to try that. The Mario thing, that looks a little complicated, but I can shoot a gun. I can point and shoot. So, I mean, yeah, that was my intro to video games, and that is definitely what spawned everything, because it was just like the curiosity, everybody crowding around, playing the games, and trying to get as far as we could in Mario, and then flipping over to Duck Hunt and stuff like that. But that was the intro. I can't remember, I want to say it was probably the first grade. But it was great.
I like how that was the pre-Twitch days of just everybody getting around one TV. There was
one
that
little bitty TV.
Exactly. There's like that, and then everybody at the arcade crowding around one arcade cabinet before Twitch, made it the easiest thing in the world just to sit at home and watch other people play games if you wanted to do that. Did you do the typical 6-year-old shit where you took the gun and put it an inch from the TV and pulled the trigger?
Of course. You got to put the gun right there in front, and then you also got to make sure you grab the controller and jump.
Yes, absolutely, because that helps. That's what they started doing later on with the PS3 with the 6-axis. We were just talking about that. I'm sure there was some game. Did Little Big Planet have some stupid shit to do this to jump?
I'm sure.
God. No, but I mean, yeah, like of course you have to have the jumping motion, which I also have seen every mom play a video game ever tend to do. Yes, because they thought motion controls existed in '89.
I don't know what it is about running and jumping with Mario that makes you want to grab the controller and actually act like you're jumping. But yeah, I remember watching my parents try to play, and that's exactly what they did. This is, of course, by the time I was like, oh yeah, I'm a gamer. I know what I'm doing. You don't need to do that. That doesn't do anything. Stop it. You look ridiculous.
Yeah. Now that you're the age of like 7 and you're an expert, you're like, Mom, what are you doing? You're just killing me here. No. So I mean, birthday parties, that's a good way to get introduced. I mean, and I can imagine you guys all crowding around probably some like 20-inch TV or like
20-inch tube TV.
Of course, just weighed 1,000 pounds, and then also not to mention, everybody's like, don't sit too close to the TV, you'll go blind, and then every kid in the world is like a foot away from
sitting
the TV.
Like right there, just staring up.
What's real crazy is like I love how they told you that don't sit too close, you'll go blind. Now we have VR glasses that are a fucking inch from our eyeballs, and that's okay magically. Right. However, I will admit to still doing the sitting in front of the TV. Like I have a 55-inch TV in my game room. I have a couch that's I'm gonna take an educated guess and say 7 or 8 feet away. Which is just too far. So I take my chair, my desk chair, and I fucking put it like 3 feet from the TV, and I'm just like staring at the TV. And my wife always just makes fun of me. She's like, "Why do you have couches?" I'm like, "I don't know. Next time if I got to replace these, I might not. Like, I'll just get some awesome chairs that I can just move 3 feet from the TV and do that." Because when I'm playing Apex, I need to see 4K 3 feet from my eyeballs. you know.
I mean, you got to be totally immersed, right? You got to be right in front of it.
100%. Absolutely. So it's, don't judge. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I play at a desk on a monitor, so I got a 27-inch monitor that I sit like directly in front of. So
Right, exactly. see, yeah, 27-inch, double that. I'm 3 feet away. We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, we're good.
I remember like working at Best Buy. There was like an actual like recommended viewing distance, and I was like, why is there a recommended viewing distance? And they basically said you shouldn't have to move your head or eyeballs to see the whole screen.
Correct.
So you should be far enough away to be able to just look at it straight on and see all of it. To which I say, fuck that. I need to see it up close. I need to see like the detail, and I need to see if Lifeline's out there reviving somebody in Apex. I can't be 8 feet away. And I'm not even going, I don't have glasses. I just, I might need them after about 5 years of doing this, but like, we'll find out.
As a fellow Best Buyer, I definitely remember that whole demo thing.
God.
Yeah.
Dude, we could have a whole other podcast about Best Buy. I bet we could. So you were at a birthday party. Did you immediately, were you just like, Mom, I need this? Like, I need this in my life.
I don't remember because, of course, I was 5 or 6. But I do remember, like, very, very shortly afterwards, we all of a sudden had a Nintendo, of course.
Right.
So I'm sure that I must have bugged my mother enough to be like, hey, this thing is cool. Can I get one? Can I get one? Can I have it? Can I get one? And eventually it just showed up and we had a Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, too, is I remember back then, like, because, like, the NES was so widespread that it was like a VCR. Like, even if you didn't really play it that much, it was just something that everybody had. And it was...
Absolutely.
And certain consoles are like that and everything, but, like, that was definitely one where I knew people that had one who didn't even have kids, but when parents came over with their kids for, like, adult time, they were just like, go in that room.
Yep.
Like,
absolutely.
Go occupy yourself while adults talk.
Yeah, I definitely can't remember a time back at that age when you went anywhere and they didn't have Nintendo. Like, I feel like everybody had Nintendo, much like when they had the Wii. Everybody had a Wii.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the next one that honestly, if I felt was like the Wii. Like, everyone had a Wii. And, I mean, like, Nintendo, good for you guys, man. You tend to make consoles that everyone and their mother and grandmother with the Wii tend to get, because, dude, everybody had a goddamn Wii. Same thing. And now you can get them on Facebook for like $30 because everybody's trying to get rid of them. So that's all right. I mean, again, though, same thing. Like, I remember NESs were garage sales. Like, every garage sale had an NES. Just because, like...
I think some of them still do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember my grandma had an Atari 2600 in her basement that had to have been my dad or my uncle's or something. And I was just like, what's this doing down here? She's like, oh, it's just, we had it over here one time and nobody took it. I just put it downstairs. So, but yeah, she had an NES at her house, but mostly that was because of me. Like, I was over there all the time. So she just had one there and I would play things over there all the time. And then I found out later she was playing games without me being there. She was playing, she was playing your Dr. Mario's and your Tetris. Like, that's all she played. She didn't play any other games. But I mean, she was... That was her thing. Like, that was before, like, she had a computer for, like, just Solitaire and Spider Solitaire and shit. Like, before she had a phone that had Candy Crush on it. Like, that was her thing. So she just did puzzle games like that. But I remember, and I've said this before, but I remember looking at her just being amazed because she was so good at the games.
Right.
And my 6-year-old, 7-year-old head was so stupid that I couldn't, be as good. I was just like... My grandma's amazing at Tetris. She's just so good. In reality, she just played it the way you should, not just fucking throwing pieces everywhere. She was like planning things and like, dude, I tried playing Dr. Mario the other day on the Switch, if you want to call it virtual console, whatever. I tried doing what she did. High, level 20, let's go, and I fucking fail in 2 seconds. I'm just like, wow.
Absolutely. I can't get down with Dr. Mario. Tetris, however, let's go.
By the way, Tetris 99. So goddamn good. It is so good. By the way, I will vote hardest battle royale game ever. Period.
Absolutely.
If you win that, you should get like some sort of like t-shirt in the mail that says I won in Tetris 99. It's so goddamn hard. I've gotten second place. And I'm not kidding you, like I've played PUBG, Fortnite, Apex, all those. When I was get second place with Tetris, I was fucking shaking and nervous. I was like, "Oh my god, I might actually win." I've never had that level of excitement playing any of those other shooters because I felt like oh, there's definitely a chance I could win. Whereas this time I was like, I don't know. This is insane. He could do some fucking stuff, and then all this shit shows up, and I'm dead. So
yeah. It's crazy. I mean, just being able to see everybody and then watch them all get knocked out piece by piece, it adds just a whole nother level to the Battle Royale, because half the games in the Battle Royale, you don't ever see the other people that just get knocked out. But being able to see everybody and see the board just get smaller and smaller and smaller, it just adds a whole nother level. Yeah, your hands are shaking, your palms are sweaty, you're like, ah.
Yeah, dude, if I get like top 5, if I know some top 5, I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. And then, but you're right. And also, too, real fast, Tetris 99, it's real fucking mean to gang up on one person. Like, you can see when people are in trouble, and you're just like, let's just add to that dude's shit pile and just let him go.
Get him.
Yeah, exactly. Get him out of here. But no, I mean, so you ended up getting NES. Did you have brothers and sisters growing up to like play games?
I had a little sister. I had a sister. She's 2 years younger than me, so she definitely was right there pulling out my coattails, playing with me as well. And of course, me being the dummy that I am, I just had to get like the hardest games. Like after we got Mario and Duck Hunt, like the next game I asked for was Metroid. At 7, I'm trying to play Metroid.
Right.
It was awful. It was terrible.
Yeah.
At least I had the Justin Bailey code to get me like some stuff that I was never ever gonna get on my own.
Right.
And then after that, I decided to get Mega Man, which at that point I could only beat like the Cutman stage. That was it.
Yeah, like it's crazy because like games back then were hard. Some of them were hard based off of actual pure skill and difficulty. Some of them were hard because they were cheap as fuck and the controls were just broken and unresponsive. Like there were certain levels of those games, but like I remember watching. I personally have not played the Mega Man series.
Oh,
not saying anything bad about it. Just never got a chance to play it. And I remember watching when Kinda Funny started, like Colin was like such a huge Mega Man fan.
Huge Mega Man, yeah. And
he was trying to like teach Tim and Nick how to play Mega Man, and they were just fucking dying left and right. And he's just like, all right, cool. Done. And he's just like, oh, that's how you do it. And they're just like, what the fuck? Like, what just happened?
It is such a skilled based game. Like you have to really know where to jump, when to jump, how to jump, when to shoot. It's an anomaly. It's a weird game to me. Like Mega Man, I was never good at it. Right. Never good at it. But I played them all. I played Mega Man 1, then Mega Man 2. I got to get Mega Man 2. And this is me not being able to beat any of the stages except for, like I said, the Cutman stage. That was the only one that I could consistently beat.
Right.
But I kept getting all the Mega Mans. This is back when Blockbuster was available and you would just rent games. So I would always rent Mega Mans. And I mean, the music, the stage design was always awesome. I could get to the bosses in most stages, but I could never like actually beat enough of them to get to Dr. Wily and beat it. But it was such a fun, just, experience. Right. It was difficult as all hell. And my sister would hate me when I would rent those because she didn't want to play Mega Man. She wanted to play Mario.
Right. And I mean, that was the thing, too, is I remember beating Mario when I was young. I think I was 6 or 7, and I beat Mario. But then, like, there were other games that I got that obviously were just far too advanced for a 6 or 7-year-old. And it's just like, no. Like, there's no reason to play these games. I remember there was one game that just I didn't even know, but there was a game called Snake, Rattle, and Roll. That was
I remember that
puzzle game. Yeah. I didn't even know that Rare made that game until they made Rare Replay, and it was in there, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. This is crazy. I went back and played it, and I'm like, dude, this game is like weird, and it just doesn't make sense. It's just, you eat things, then you can grow bigger, and you got to jump up. I think it was just so weird, but I remember that. There was a game called The Guardian Legend, which I've heard Jared Petty mention, and I just remember what the actual like art, the artwork of the game looked like and stuff, but it was just this weird game. Yeah, it's like the description on Wikipedia says a hybrid action adventure / shoot 'em up. And
what?
Yeah, it was like parts of it were just like spaceship flying around shooting things, and then you get to this part where you're on the ground and like walking around. It was a weird game. Don't know how the hell I came across it because like. That definitely doesn't look like something I would just find and be like, oh yeah, let's get that instead of anything
That makes
else.
me think about like Blaster Master, which was another really hard game for a 7-year-old, which of course I had to have and never beat because it was difficult as all hell.
Right. Did your so were your parents and everything pretty encouraging when it came to games? Like were they like, were they the type to get you games because they noticed it was a thing of yours that made you really happy, or was it a thing to basically shut you up? Because some parents got it just to like, yeah, here you go. I don't care. I don't like this, but whatever.
I would say it was probably just to make me happy, because I would definitely just come home and they had bought some game that I must have mentioned or something. My mom also got me a subscription to the Nintendo Power magazine,
Dude,
which I didn't ask about. Mom. Yeah, she was just on point. So I would come home and Nintendo Power magazine would be there. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I'd come home and there'd be some game. But I don't think it was ever to just shut me up or anything. I think they just knew that I liked games, because the other thing that I would do with most of my money, if I had money, was I would buy G.I. Joe figures. Like, that was my other thing.
Right.
I don't remember ever really like harping on video games at that age until like the Super Nintendo era, when I was definitely asking for games for my birthday and everything and for Christmas. Right. But at the NES level, like, I don't really recall asking for games. They just kind of showed up.
Yeah, because I remember, like, I've always been into games. Like, there was a point in time when, like, I was into games and stuff, but then there was always some other thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was into Ghostbusters. I was into Beetlejuice, because Beetlejuice, which was a fucking weird movie, had a kids' cartoon show.
That cartoon was awesome.
It was awesome, though. It was cool as fuck. And then I remember being into Star Wars, like, hardcore into Star Wars. Like, when they started doing the reissue of like the figures, like when they redid the movies with the special effects, and they put like the original trilogy before they altered any of it on VHS. Dude, I watched Star Wars like every night when I went to bed, because I was a fucking nerd, and I was just like, that first Star Wars movie, my wife still gets freaked out about, because I can just like, if it's on, I'll just get to a part and I'll just start quoting everything. Like, it's like the scripts in my head. I can just start fucking saying things, and she just looks at me, she's like, you're so goddamn nerdy. But no, I mean, like, I think as long as you have something else, like, I mean, my parents definitely got me games and stuff. My grandma would get me games, but you're right, though. It was literally until, like, it had to have been Genesis where, like, I was just like, all I want is Genesis games for Christmas and shit. Like, I would save money and get, like, Star Wars figures. I would do allowance, or, like, do chores, get allowance, buy Star Wars figures. But if it was a birthday or Christmas, it was absolutely a game. Because that's where you got your big shit. Like, you kind of had to save it for that.
I mean, I can save up $3 and go get me a figure real quick, but saving up $50 for a game, I'm never going to be able to accomplish that at that young age. I'm like, no, I'm going to go get this G.I. Joe. I'll ask for the video game for my birthday, Christmas. Plus, it's not like now when you have all the information at your fingertips and you know exactly what games are coming out. Back then, it was just like the playground. So some kid had some game and he brought it, he talked about it, and you're like, what is that? And then maybe it was a Nintendo Power if you actually had a subscription to Nintendo Power or Game Pro at the time.
Right.
Or EGM. But at that point, it was word of mouth. It wasn't like it was now.
Right. And then especially, the only thing that was bad is when you had that asshole kid that would lie and just say, oh man, I did this, man. You can't beat that? Pfft, I did that first try. Like, shut your mouth. No one did this. Right. Like, no one. Liars. You bunch of liars. But yeah, you're right, though, because, like, now my son, has access to, I don't know, the internet, and he can, basically watch a Twitch stream or a YouTube video or a Let's Play or any of these things to figure out games. Like, I remember I knew it was awesome when my son started asking for games I had not known about. Like, I didn't know about the game, and I follow games all the time. Like, I love games. I follow all the culture around it. But literally, when he started asking for games that I wasn't playing, that I didn't recommend to him, I was like, this is awesome. Because now he's starting to get his own opinions. Shit. The best one he ever recommended to me was Rocket League. He was like,
nice.
He's like, Dad, I want Rocket League. And I was like, and I wasn't shitting on it, but I just didn't realize like how great of a game it was. So I didn't play it. I wasn't hyping it up, but I wasn't, shitting on it either. But that was also when it was only on PlayStation and it came to Xbox.
Right.
And then he was like, I want Rocket League. I want to use my allowance to buy that. I'm like, sure. He's like, yeah, I'm all right, cool. He buys, I buy it for him and we do game share. Thank you, Xbox. And I played it like one time, like, let's just see how this game is. And I was like, holy shit, this game is so good. And I was like, dude, my son recommended this. And there's still games, though, that he recommends that I don't care for at all. Ark, Subnautica, all those.
He's into that. Okay.
He's into, like, if you can build some shit. I mean, Minecraft was like the big game for him when he was younger. And he still occasionally plays, but like, dude, if you can build a base or like any of that, like Fallout 4, when that was introduced, he was in love. He's like, yes, I want to just build bases and do this shit. Although 76, he hates. He
I mean, does anybody like 76?
Dude, I have one friend that I know that still plays it, and I felt so bad because I got it for my son for his birthday. Like a week later, I go in his room, and he's playing Fallout 4. I'm like, what do you do? I didn't want 76. Like, I didn't want it at all. Not because of, like, I just never thought the thing missing from Fallout was multiplayer. That was never in my head. I was like, this is not going to make this game better. So I got it for him. A week later, I'm like, what are you doing, man? What's going on? He's like, Dad, 76 is bad. I'm like, oh, no. He's like, yeah. He's like, Dad, it's busted. It's not good. It's not fun. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, I don't know. Maybe they'll patch it later. But you can see, like, the disappointment is. Like, he's just like, I wanted to play with my friends and make this game fun, but fuck Bethesda because they ruined it. Like, that was the first, like, sign of, like, I fucked up. That in Kernel or Kerbal Space Program or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He saw some, like, Let's Play of it. Got it and realized this shit's hard. He's like, yeah, I don't know what to do, Dad. I'm like, you can't refund digital shit right now, kids. Sorry, I guess you're stuck with it. So, yeah. That's what happens, though. Did you ever have, I mean, you had mentioned, though, like, you got, like, Mega Man games even though you weren't beating them. Did you ever get a game that was, like, just a big disappointment that you were just like, oh, I'm bummed out about this, like, especially at the earlier age?
Yeah. Bubsy. I don't know why I thought Bubsy was going to be a good game. For some reason, I think I saw it. It was on a cover at EGM, and they had done like a whole thing on it. I was like, oh, this looks cool. It's like Mario, but it's a whole different thing. And oh, this cat's got attitude. Okay, cool. This might be good. And then it was the most just, oh God, it was the most disappointing, awful game I have ever played. Like, the controls were terrible. The difficulty was ridiculous because if you just got breathed on, you were dead. That was it. It was a wrap. I mean, it was the worst. I was so upset. And that was one that I had actually bought myself. Like, I saved up the money. Took me forever. I got it. I was like, all right, we got Bubsy. Nah, man. Yeah, it was the worst.
Yeah, that's a decision. That's a rough one, man. That's a real bad one. The worst thing is, too, and I got so upset when all of the basically nostalgia glasses hit everybody at the same time, and then they started remaking all these games. They made Crash, they made Spyro, they made, and then they were like, like Earthworm Jim is getting revived, which, by the way,
oh yeah, I'm with that.
Earthworm Jim is awesome. Like,
dope.
No one shitted on that game back in the day. That game was fun. Toe Jam and Earl, I was like, that's weird.
Oh, see, I love Toe Jam and Earl. I love that game.
Bad. It was just not a game I didn't think, like, so many people gave a shit about to remake a game. Because it was also only on Sega Genesis. Like, it was a Genesis property. It was. And, like, whereas Earthworm Jim was at least on both. But then, like, when Bubsy was like, we're getting a remake of Bubsy, I'm like, no one fucking asked for that. Like, stop what you're doing.
I was heated. I was livid. I was like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Stop this. Why would you want to, ruin people's lives by remaking this piece of hot garbage?
Yeah, it's real bad.
This did not need to be done.
No one signed anything on petition.org for fucking Bubsy's comeback at all.
No, man. I was so triggered when I saw that. Like, I cannot believe they're doing this garbage.
Yeah, it was quite bad. But I mean, again, like, sometimes that happens, though. I mean, you get games. The only thing that's cool, though, is, like, if you rent a bad game, the sting sucks, but it's just like, this is going back in the weekend. I'll remember next time. Or I'll just tell people not to do this shit at the playground. Because
see, sometimes if I had a bad rental, I would take it back like it didn't work. Can I get something else? It's not working.
Get that free rental. It just stopped working. Do you want another copy? No.
I think the first game I did that for was ActRaiser. I just didn't like it. Yeah. I was like, I'm not feeling this. It's not working. Can I get a different thing? Can I get something else?
I like that. That's a dope excuse. Like, hey, I don't know. It just stopped working. The worst is, as I was older, I worked for a video game store called Game Crazy, which was attached to Hollywood Video, right? And when you work for Hollywood Video, you get rentals for free. Like, you can just fucking rent whatever you want. But the worst thing in the world is, like, everybody treated rental, and this is dis. So there were legitimate times when games straight did not work.
Right.
And the Game Crazy had a buffer machine that would like buff out scratches and shit. So, I mean, we would get fucking games from them all the time that were just like not working. The worst though was, it was a New Year's Eve. I rented Smash and I was like, I'm going to have a Smash drinking game. This is going to be awesome. We're going to have fun. And literally Smash just didn't work. And I went in the next day and I fucking like threw it behind the counter. I was just like, you just fucking ruined my New Year's Eve. And I just like threw it behind the counter and then I went to work. They were just like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, none of your games like to work unless you get them brand new like the week they come out. If one person rents these, they're fucked. Like they come back just destroyed. But I like it's a cartridge. But you'd still say it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. I was blowing in it. I tried to get it in. You know, you get it in just far enough, and you push it down where it makes a snap. But no, it didn't work. It didn't work at all.
Didn't work.
Uh-huh.
I would love that if they were just like, do you want another one? No.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I don't think that one's going to work either.
I don't trust it. I need something different.
So, dude, that's a good excuse. So, did you actually tell your mom it didn't work, or did you actually just go? Like,
no, I just went back myself. This was back when it was okay to go outside down the street around the corner. Right. When, it was safe.
When it was safe, when all those rapists and murderers were like in their home staying put or something, right? Like, I get what you're saying though. I didn't live close enough to go to the store by myself, or else I definitely would have. But yeah, I remember like we used to go renting a lot of the times at a local grocery store that for whatever reason, like you walk into the grocery store, like to the left, there was all these magazines and shit. And then there was just a video rental thing and they had a ton of movies and games and shit. And then like they had just the grocery store and it was like a Friday tradition, like go get a game, go get a movie, go get one of those fucking take home pizzas from the grocery store.
Yep.
And that was it. Like every Friday we did that shit forever.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, we had one store. It's called Video Plus. It was literally like around the corner. So nice. I would just 2 blocks around the corner, go rent games.
You can't complain about that. Like,
nah.
So where did you grow up?
LA. Like LA proper.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy too that you say like it's right around the corner because like LA has a lot of spots where you can't, like, isn't it a lot of LA where you have to drive to places? Yeah,
there is a lot of, absolutely. But where I lived at, it was off of like, and I hate that because everybody asks we're at in LA, and where I lived in LA, it was just LA. Like if you're familiar with LA, like I can say Wilshire and La Brea, and you'll get it.
Right.
And so like on like this one strip, there was like a little strip mall, and they had a donut stop, a video store, stuff like that. Down around the corner was a Burger King and a McDonald's, and then like the next street over, instead of it being businesses, it was all houses. Right. So like literally it was just around the corner. So nice. I happened to be just in a pocket where there was enough like businesses, but then also lots of homes and like an elementary school. So it's just this weird like one little pocket where stuff is actually accessible.
Nice. Yeah, because like so much of like, it's funny because like depending on where you are in the world, like LA, there's so much driving that you're doing in LA. In New York, there's no, like, you don't drive because everything's within walking distance. And then there's like somewhere in the middle, like in Illinois, like down the street was like a gas station, another gas station, like an auto repair shop, and that's it. Like, but like to get like to an actual rental store, it was like a 5 to 10 minute car ride. But yeah, I mean, I can tell you for sure, if I took off on my bike all the way to wherever we were renting shit, my mom would have been hella pissed at me. At that younger age, she would have been like, no, you go down to the gas station and you can get your candy bar and you get your ass back here. It's basically as far as I went.
Yeah, I was super lucky where we lived at because we had the video store, and then like another block the other direction, there was actually a video game store.
Nice.
It was called Game Mania, so I would go there and they have games where you could actually like demo and play. Right. And that's where I bought a lot of my video games. And then, not too far away, probably a little bit further than those two, there was a Winchell's that actually had arcade games. So that's where I played all my Street Fighter 2.
Nice, dude. Yeah. Like you live super close to a bunch of shit, man. Like, yeah, I mean, like like I said, I mean, I had like a gas stations and that's about it. Like 2 gas stations that were like always competing with one another. And then there's like some auto parts store, and that was like all I had. The only thing that was cool at this auto parts store, they had like 25% cans of soda. So me and my buddies would go down there and load up, and then like literally take cans of soda up the hill to back to his house so that we can like stay up all night and play games and shit.
Yep.
But it's fun times. So
absolutely.
So as you're growing up, so you had an NES, and I think you said you went to Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah, Super Nintendo, and I had a Genesis. I had both. Nice. So I am definitely a fan of the Sega Genesis. I don't understand why people are like, Sega was so bad there were no games. I'm like, you clearly have on the Nintendo goggles and didn't see
for sure
all the awasomeness that was on Sega. Like, you missed out on Vector Man. You didn't get to play Streets of Rage.
Right.
All of the Golden Axe games that came. Like, what do you mean? There's a reason there's a Sega Genesis Classics collection that just keeps getting re-released on every
goddamn platform
gen.
ever since the PlayStation 2. Yeah. Like, it's a constant thing that always gets re-released. I had a Genesis, never had a Super Nintendo. I won't say Genesis had bad games. It's just when people think back on that era, a lot of people go to Super Nintendo games, or they go to the big thing for me, though, for example, is I didn't really experience any RPGs until PlayStation because Sega wasn't pushing that genre, really. They were pushing a lot of other shit, just not that genre. So, I mean, like, all those, Earthbound, Final Fantasies, all those, I missed. Like, I just did not play those. But also, at the same time, I mean, like, you're right, though. Like, Sega Genesis had awesome games, and they were still funny. I mean, also, too, no matter how much shit you talk about Genesis, we had Mortal Kombat with blood, so go to hell.
Yeah,
like, we had good Mortal Kombat. But like, you're right though. Like, I felt like Sega had a lot of good games. I also just felt like they were trying so many ideas, and it just seemed like none of them wanted to stick long enough to be a good, long-lasting IP. Besides, like Sonic, like you had Vector Man, you had Comic Zone, you had Streets of Rage, like you had. Dude, by the way, I went back and played Comic Zone. It was on Game Pass. Don't do it. Don't. There's like gameplay choices that are in that game that just don't make any fucking sense. Like, there's like a barrel that you have to blow up to get to the next panel, but punching that barrel hurts you. And there's no way to like go around it. You just have to get hurt to keep going forward. I'm like, yeah, this makes a whole lot of fucking sense. There was like an airplane that you could like rip the page off and throw, but then it could come back and hit you and hurt you. And it was the only thing that, like, you had an attack for that could hurt you as well. It was just like, there's some weird-ass choices in here, and the jumping was all, like, weird and stiff. Like, some of those games you look back on, you're like, man, those... But at the time, dude, they were awesome. They were like, I remember Road Rash. Dude.
Oh, my God, I love Road Rash. It's like, absolutely love it. I bought some homage to it. I forgot what it's called on the Switch or whatnot, because Road Rash was my shit. Me and my boy, we would literally play that game until the sun came up. Like, we would sit there, play Road Rash, and then we played like the offshoot of that, Skitchin', with the rollerblades. we played that till the sun came up, man. EA Sports and just EA in general on the Genesis was amazing. Like, all of their games ran better on Genesis. All the sports games were better on Genesis. You couldn't get Road Rash anywhere else. And Road Rash, man, that game, I loved that game.
I remember just like, again, like when you were talking about like just like a motorcycle racing game, I'm not interested. Who gives a shit? But then they had like a picture on the cover. There's like a dude with a chain, like, throwing a chain over his head, hitting somebody. And I'm like, bro, this is insanity. Like, who the fuck does this? Yeah, Road Rash 2 had a chain and then some dude straight throwing a right straight, like, into someone's mouth. By the way, punching someone in the fucking helmet with your fist cannot feel good in any way.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But dude, like, and then you could just like straight run people over. You could just be like, boom, just clapped, and they're just gone.
Oh, like, the best would be when they'd fall off the bike and you'd run them over and just get get all that air, just be flying. Oh, God,
you just
so
murdered
good.
a man. Like, you just killed a man. He just like, his family's sad, and you just run him over and just. I love it though, because you just unrealistically jump 10 feet in the air. And you're like, ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Oh man, like
the music in that game was good too. The music, it was great.
It's a fun game, and again, like, sorry man, like, you had a Super Nintendo, you didn't get to experience that.
Nope.
Like, I appreciated Genesis and the games that there were on there, but also at the same time, like, there were certain games that just straight weren't available, like they just weren't, accessible. Like I said, like, as far as the genre goes, like RPGs weren't really represented on there very well.
Not at all. Not at all. I think you had like Phantasy Star, and that was about it.
That was pretty much about it. Yeah, like there was not a whole lot, and it's weird because Sega being a Japanese company and you know JRPGs being so big, like why did Sega just get screwed there? Like why was Sega not more of a player in that? I don't know. Like I can't explain.
I can only think they were really just trying to appeal to the American market. That's the only thing I could think of, because when I think back to like the games that were on Sega, it just doesn't feel like Japanese at all. Like you said, like you had all of the Final Fantasies, the Secret of Mana, the Chrono Trigger, all of that stuff was only on Super Nintendo. And I don't know if it was just that they had a licensing agreement with like Square Enix or something, or Square, and then Squaresoft, and then Enix.
Right.
2 different companies before they merged.
Yep, exactly, before they went.
I gotta imagine they just had to have some kind of licensing agreement where their games were only on Super Nintendo.
Right, and also probably just the fact that like they had the partnership with NES before, so probably just transferred it over until PlayStation showed up and fucked that all up. But no, like I mean, Genesis still had its good games. I think the problem is it's like, the only thing that's sad is that when, for example, when the SNES Classic gets announced, and then there's all these like offshoots of like a Sega Genesis Classic, but now there's like a proper official Sega Genesis Classic, and apparently it's getting like good games. Like it's not like bullshit. Like
I'm waiting for them to announce Kid Chameleon. If Kid Chameleon is on there, I'm sold.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think they announced it the other day, like, a Mega Man. There was some sort of, like, Mega Man game that was on Genesis, which I didn't fucking know about.
Yeah,
but apparently,
I had no idea either.
Apparently is going on this Classic. However, the only thing that's odd about this Classic is it's got the 3-button controller. Quit fucking up. Get that 6-button.
Which is weird, because I think in Japan, they're actually releasing the Mega Drive with the 6, but I'm like, why wouldn't you just do that here as well? Like, that was one of the pitfalls of having a Genesis. Like, when Street Fighter came to it or Mortal Kombat came to it, you only had 3 buttons and you had to hit start to switch between, like, the punches and the kicks.
Right.
Unless you had the 6-button controller.
I can tell you, I got the 6-button, and immediately I was like, this is the greatest controller ever. Like, ever since I got the 6-button, I got one 6-button controller and I was like, this is it. I remember everybody who came over to fight me in Mortal Kombat, I was like, yeah, have fun with this 3-button, bitch. Like, I'm not, like, no, I'm not letting you.
I did the same thing. I was like, sorry, Kamari, that's my sister. I was like, sorry, you're getting the 3-button.
You're getting the 3-button.
You're not getting the 6-button.
You were a second-class citizen, you're getting a 3-button controller.
Pretty much.
Like, we're not doing
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not going to win anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at the Sega Mini, Sega, what are they calling it? The Sega Genesis Mini. Okay. By the way, good job modeling it on the old Gen 1 Sega Genesis, which is the one I had with the headphone slider for no fucking reason.
Same here.
But yeah, like, so I'm looking at it and like Comic Zone, Toe Jam and Earl, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is fucking legit. That game is fun. Earthworm Jim's on there, Streets of Rage, Phantasy Star, Vector Man, Sonic Spinball, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, or Champion Edition, which is the one that I remember, and then Mega Man: The Wily Wars. I don't remember that at all. Heard of that game in my life, and they were talking about, like, I remember people when it just got announced recently, like people were like, "Holy shit, that's actually a really rare Mega Man game that you're gonna have a chance to play." So good for them. And then Castle of Illusion and like, I mean, the games that they have on here are good. Like, they're definitely speaking to that Sega Genesis audience. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, and it also let's see here. It also looks like it's going to support somebody. I think they put out there, like, there is a USB 6-button controller that apparently is going to like work with it, but it's just not going to come with it. Like, what the fuck's like? I don't know.
Come on, just put it with it and call it a day. Like, haven't we learned our lesson already? Like, stop not releasing the controllers with the minis. Like, nobody wants to go out and have to buy another one for this. Just give us the stuff. Yeah,
just like the other day was the one thing that threw me off was the PlayStation Classic, which by the way is a hunk of shit and no one should play.
Yeah.
No. However, real bummed out when I found out the Japanese version had Parasite Eve. I was like, what the fuck? Because that game is so good, and you're telling me you couldn't put that in the American version? Like, that game is great. And the only thing I will say is shout out to, like, PlayStation for putting Intelligent Cube on the PlayStation Classic, because that game, again, it's one of those games that's just hard as shit to find. and it's really expensive and really rare. But you could buy this and play it and have that option. So, like I said, they did the same thing now with this Mega Man game, which I did not know existed until this story happened. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I wonder if it's I wonder how fast before somebody hacks it and just throws all the Genesis games on there.
Probably, yeah. And I mean, also too, like, yo, man, like PlayStation, how are you gonna fuck up emulation on your shit? Like,
and why do the PAL emulation and not the NTSC that everybody's used? Like, it's such an odd.
It seems like the most half-assed. Like, they spent a month figuring it out and just go, okay, this will work, sell it. And I've never seen a classic get so discounted so fast, ever. Like, that shit was $100 at launch, and then within, like, 3 months, it was, like, $40 at Best Buy. I was like, holy shit. They were giving it away if you bought a PS4
Pretty much.
Pro.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, if you buy something, here, take this, please. We need to get rid of the inventory. It is an at-risk item. Please, take it. Please.
Yes, a Best Buy term. It is an at-risk item. Get this shit off the shelves.
It is already EOL. Please take this.
I'm so happy. Dude, everybody who doesn't work at Best Buy is like, the fuck are they talking about? No, man, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
As far as it goes, so, like, you had both. So, obviously, when the next generation consoles came out, you got a PlayStation and an N64, and you got a Saturn, right?
There was no Saturn. Get
fucking
that
shit. No one bought a Saturn.
Get that shit out of here.
Got a Saturn.
But definitely had the PlayStation and the N64. I only had 2 games for the N64. Like, that system did not speak to me, and that was like the end of my Nintendo fandom, honestly. So had the PlayStation, got the N64, basically for Ocarina of Time and NBA Hang Time, honestly. Everybody had controllers, so we would always go to like the homie's house and we would play Smash, we'd play Card or whatever with the 4 players, but the N64 just didn't speak to me. That was where the PlayStation love was born and bred and is still going to this day. Like that's like my system of choice, all born from PS1. Yeah,
I don't necessarily with 64. I had one way late in the life cycle. I had it when they had the DK64 bundle, like green with the expansion pack and all that shit. Weird enough, my sister asked for it, who didn't play games. All right, whatever. I didn't care. It was a free gift. I got more enjoyment out of it, whatever. But like with the PlayStation, like, yeah, I mean, basically, I think the only thing with the N64 was, you're right, though, like, the 4-player moments were the greatest moments on it, but PlayStation overall, I mean, it's funny, I played more PlayStation with my buddies than I did 64, because there were so many games where we would just take turns, like, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Metal Gear, like, all of those games, we would just take turns on. Yeah, essentially. Like, hey, Konami, thank you. Konami and Capcom, you guys made a lot of good games. Dude, like, I remember they were pumping out a Resident Evil every fucking year, though. Like,
I know.
Like, that's nuts to do. Like, I can't, I mean, obviously, I'm glad they don't do that shit anymore. But, like, I remember Resident Evil 2 came out, and then Resident Evil 3 was literally, like, 2 with a new playable character. Like, they pumped it out super fast. But, dude, those games were it. I remember Silent Hill. By the way, fuck Silent Hill for one reason. There's one puzzle at the end of the game that I am 100% convinced you cannot figure out how to beat it unless you have a strategy guide.
Yeah.
My buddies and I, we did everything. Like, we literally looked at everywhere. We fucking ran up and down every section where we went, got all these puzzles, got this puzzle, and we literally got stuck. And my buddy, we spent hours, like, just trying to figure it out, to the point where my friend's just like, you know what? Fuck it. And he just, like, left. And we're like, okay. And he came back like 45 minutes later with the strategy guide, and he's like, here's how you do it. I'm like, you really just go buy that just so this? He's like, yeah, I'm over this. I'm done. I want this game done. And it was like right before the final boss too. He's like, I'm over this shit. I'm done. I just want this game done. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's so funny how they're like, back in the day they did stuff like that. Like, I remember Star Tropics. Like, it came with the map that you had to put in water in order to actually get to something. It's like, if you rent that, there's no way in hell you're beating that. Like, you don't know. And same thing with the Silent Hill puzzle. Like, if you don't have a strategy guide, like, and this is before the internet, and you can just look it up, like, you were just sitting stuck.
The worst, not the worst, but I still think it's like one of the best things I've ever seen a game do was Metal Gear and Meryl's Code. Do you remember like where you had to look at the back of the case? Because in the game they kept telling. So in the game, they kept telling you, look on the back of the CD case. And you're like, in the game, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, CD case.
I don't remember this at all.
Yeah,
and I beat the game twice.
Yeah, so Metal Gear Solid 1, you get to a part where you have to find Meryl's codex code to call her. And in the game, the colonel or whatever just keeps saying you need to look on the back of the CD case to get her codec. And you're running through all the items, and you're like, what the fuck? And you're looking at all your inventory, you're looking at all these lockers, you're like, I don't know there's no CD case in this game. And then literally my buddy next to me just goes, 1, 4, 3, and we're like, what the fuck? It was on the back of the real CD case in real life. Like Metal Gear case had her code on the back, and our heads all collectively fucking exploded. We were just like, wow, what just happened? They made you look. Now again, if you didn't have the CD case, you were fucked. Like, yeah, right. What were you gonna do? But again, like, that was the moment that you're just like, this is insane. And then, of course, the Psycho Mantis thing. Yeah. Yeah, where you had to swap it.
I don't remember the Meryl's code thing.
Yeah, the Meryl thing is a fucking trip, dude. I remember, like, my friend just started saying numbers. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh. And we just kind of, like, freak out. We're like, dude, no way. It's nuts. If you look it up though, like, it's Meryl. It actually has like a picture, one of the screenshots on the back of the CD case.
That's says so Meryl awesome.
And has the codec code. I'm like, this is the greatest thing in my life.
And that's the one Metal Gear that I want them to actually remake that they won't do.
Yeah, I would like, I mean, so they remade it on GameCube, which was cool. And the thing is, like, if you try to play that game now, it's rough. Not the gameplay, but like graphically, it's fucking jarring how bad it looks comparable.
I feel like everything from like the PS1 era, like when you go back, it's just like, ooh, this is not easy on the eyes at all.
For sure, it's rough. Like I agree with you there. It's rough. Like it's I think like the 16-bit sprite stuff like that, just because it looks still nice to this day. But like when you start going into 3D graphics, especially first gen 3D graphics, they're real bad. Like they're bad. I mean, it's weird because like after, I want to say like PS2, I don't feel the same way. Like I don't. Yeah, not at all. Like, you know what I mean? I don't feel like that. Oh, it's so bad I can't play it, or it's so bad it's like jarring to your eyes. Like I don't feel that way at all with like PS2 and after, but that whole PS1 N64 era.
It's rough. It's real rough.
Fucking Lara Croft with her very triangle boobs, like Like no, you couldn't round them off at all. Apparently, like that shit was not an option back then. So, but yeah, I mean, like go look at Final Fantasy VII Cloud back then. It's fucking hysterical.
He's got triangles for feet. He's got like his arms are just like rectangles. It looks awful.
It's real bad and everything, but yeah, I mean, I just sent you a link to the Meryl thing. No, but it's just really, back then it was really jarring, but also too, they were still figuring out shit. They were still figuring out 3D games and controls and stuff like that. So, it happens. So at that time though, so like what games were you kind of in the same boat with me where like with PlayStation when that happened, you were experiencing like RPGs and all of that stuff?
Well, yes and no, because I did play some of the RPGs. That's on right. Super so I didn't play a lot of them. My first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy VII. Right. But I had played Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger on SNES, so that was like my intro into RPG. But Secret of Mana is such, it's not a turn-based RPG, so it doesn't even feel like you're playing an RPG game. Like that one is literally like you're running around and it's combat happening. Right. So Final Fantasy VII was definitely my intro into like the RPG genre, and I fell in love with I rented Final Fantasy VII and was like, I need to buy that. Right. So my birthday came around and I bought it, but I absolutely loved that game, and I have serious rose-colored goggles because like you said, like you look back at that game, it looks awful. But as I was playing it, man, if it wasn't the most gorgeous game I was playing ever.
100%. What fucked me up real bad is I played Resident Evil 1 on Xbox One. So they had the remake and they've remade that HD remaster 1,000 times. Played it and I'm like, this game's rough. Like it's just like, it's just like the tank controls, which they did update. They did update in the new games, but like the fixed camera fucks you up weird. The inventory system is awful because like you had to go to fucking chests and like the ink ribbons, like whatever.
They're ink ribbons. Ugh.
Yeah. But then like the worst part was in my head, I kept thinking that Resident Evil on PlayStation looked like the GameCube remaster. Until I went back and actually YouTube looked up Resident Evil 1 on PlayStation, and I was like, it looks like somebody put sandpaper on my eyes. Like, it is fucking bad. It's so
absolutely
bad.
Like,
man, my mind just wanted to forget that shit existed, dude.
This is what we were playing back then. Like,
what the fuck, man? Like, it just looks. And the best part is all that Resident Evil 1 shit. The voice acting. The master of unlocking. I was like, oh my god,
so bad.
Again, back then, like. It was
amazing. It was amazing.
It was the greatest thing ever. So, you were I mean, what's funny too is you mentioned like RPGs. Like, obviously, I didn't have a Super Nintendo, so like I didn't play the RPGs. My first RPG, and it sounds bad because everyone makes fun of this game as being quoted. My first RPG is Pokemon.
Yeah, no.
Like, it was a turn-based, and it was just different because I wasn't used to turn-based combat. But then when I saw like that mixed with the Final Fantasy, cinematics on a commercial, I fucking lost it in like a magazine. I was like, holy shit, this is where I want it. And that's same thing. Like, Final Fantasy was my first console RPG.
Yeah.
So, but again, it was so awesome. But yeah, I mean, you go back and it's a little rough.
I'm thinking about like if they ever do release this remake, Aerith's Death is going to hit real hard because it's going to look really, really nice.
It's going to be real pretty. The only thing that I think that fucks you up now is like the whole. It'll come out when my son's graduating college.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. Here's the only thing. Some people are going to be pissed that the combat is basically Kingdom Hearts combat now. It's not turn-based at all. Like, not at all.
I wonder if they'll just put a mode in there to let you do it turn-based, because that would be cool, but probably not.
No, like, I mean, when they said, my favorite thing in the world was when the guy who directs Kingdom Hearts, they were like, by the way, you're directing, like, they announced him as the director of Final Fantasy. Motherfucker was like, really?
Like, oh, okay.
Last time I checked, I'm trying to put a game out that I've been talking about for 15 years. Like, I don't know if this, okay, I guess so. But when they showed off, like, the last state of play, they showed off, like, the trailer and stuff, and I'm like, that's 100% Kingdom Hearts combat. However, Kingdom Hearts 3 combat is fun as shit. Like, it's real fun. So I'm not going to complain real bad, but, you know, you're going to get those purists that are, like, those gamers that just don't know all the shit. So, like, when they see Final Fantasy VII, they're going to think back PlayStation, they're going to go do combat and go, what the fuck is this? Why is
as long as they don't mess up my materia system, we're good. Give me back. Materia was I loved it.
Yeah.
Being able to link them and then birth new materia, like that is hands down my favorite magic system in a game ever. I freaking love it.
And the only thing is weird is, like, we're going to break it up into episodes. Like, you mean like disc 1 and disc 2? Like,
right.
I'm sorry, but real fast, if they just named the episodes disc 1, I'd be like, that's fucking perfect. Just say disc awesome. 1, disc 2, disc 3. Just do it. By the way, speaking of scratch up discs, how fucking hateful were you when disc 1 was fine, but 2 got scratched and you want to put a gun in your mouth?
Oh my god! Like, that's when you go rent it and you just swap out your disc.
I won't say that I haven't done that before. I have 100%. For whatever reason, sorry Blockbuster, you're the reason why. I'm the reason why you're out of business. Gears of War. I was playing Gears of War, and all of a sudden my 360 just got like tipped over. Oh, and I heard the scratch. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. Poke it up, and there's that laser like scratch on the disc where it is super fun.
Done.
Like, it's done. There's no buffing that will fix that shit. And then, I went to Blockbuster. I was wanting to play Gears of War, so I rented a copy. And for whatever reason, the one from Blockbuster had the disc burn in it. And I'm like, I don't know. I got to return this.
Yeah,
No, it's not my fault, but whatever. That's okay.
May they rest in peace.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so sorry I put you out of business, Blockbuster. Oh, wait, that was Netflix. I'm sorry. That wasn't me at all. I love the fact that Blockbuster could have bought Netflix, and they did.
Right. They had the opportunity.
Worst fucking business decision in history.
I gotta imagine they're just kicking themselves. Somebody's kicking themselves every day for that one.
We had an opportunity to buy Netflix, and we said, no, what the fuck is wrong with us? Netflix is $1 billion company. God damn it. It's okay. What could have been? But also, too, I mean, like, it's funny because I remember Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were the only ones that, like, survived. Because I remember in the heyday of video rentals, everywhere, they were all over the place. There were mom and pop shops. There was, like, we used to go to this one place where this, like, grandma and grandpa straight up ran the shit. Like, just this old ass couple ran this video store. And then when they stopped, like, being in business, then we went to the grocery store I was talking about. But, like, dude, they were everywhere. It's weird. Now,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had two. Like I said, I had that one around the corner called Video Plus. There was one a little bit further away. There was another video store that we frequented. And then Blockbuster came to town, like right in the middle of both of those, and those were gone. And now I went to Blockbuster. Then Hollywood Video came like a block away from Blockbuster. So that's where we got all our movies from. But yeah, it put all the mom and pop stores just gone.
Yeah, it was nuts. And what's the craziest shit in the world is that I live in Arizona, and I'm driving down the road the other day, and there was still a video store there. There is a and I was like, there's a mom and pop video store. And it's in like a strip mall that's like definitely run down. Definitely where they're probably paying the video rental store to stay there because there's no other business that will go there. They had an old school like Nintendo, like original Nintendo sign, like the old LED sign still in the window. Man. And I almost want to go in there and just like look around, but I'm scared they're going to be like, a customer, and like fucking like hound me and shit. But
pull the cars and just like scare you off real quick.
Yeah, exactly. like I would just be like, holy shit, I just want to go in there. But I've like now there's red boxes. Like now there's a screen that is now your video teller that you don't have to do this shit on. By the way, you can't rent games for a day anymore. That doesn't work.
That's just the install.
Right. Like, how are you going to do that? Like, if you're going to rent it for one day, you better rent that shit at 12:02 a.m. And have it for like the day so you can install it. Like, I don't get the day rentals at red boxes anymore. I'm like,
it doesn't make any sense.
You have to go home and do a day one patch. It's 30 gigs. That's going to take a couple hours, and you got to go to bed. No, you can't do that shit. I remember GameFly. I tried GameFly. When I moved to Arizona, because like when you go from being able to rent games and movies whenever you want to not, you're fucked up. So instead of going to a Hollywood Video and all that shit, I just did Netflix GameFly, and this was GameFly like 12 years ago.
Right,
it was the worst shit ever. It was so bad. Like you could put a game in, and then you would get it like you would be waitlisted for like a month. And like maybe get it. I don't know if GameFly is any better now, but I mean they at least have the good model of like you can keep a game as long as you want because that's how you have to do game rentals. You can't do this shit by like a couple of days. Back in the day, a couple of days was fine, but no way you can do that shit now.
Yeah, I got a couple of friends who actually rent from the library. I was like, who knew the library was renting games? Like, what is this?
Right?
Like, what?
Yeah, like I know like the library out here does movies and shit, and I remember asking them about games, and they kind of looked at me like, but also I live next to a older community, so like, a bunch of old people in there on their fucking internet checking their AOL emails and shit. Like,
you got mail.
You got mail, dude. People still have AOL emails. Where I work, I have to verify emails, and I'm like, motherfucker, did you say AOL?
Right. I have a friend who still has an AOL email address. I'm like, dude. Like, I make fun of you for being old as it is, but you still have this AOL email address? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, again, it's funny, though. I have Hotmail, which has now become the new AOL.
Guilty as charged?
Yep. I had Hotmail fucking 20 years ago. Like, shut up. Like, sorry, that's and as an Xbox guy, now that I'm an Xbox guy, like, sorry, it's my Xbox thing, and that's all my Microsoft shit. Like, whatever. So question, did you ever get into a point where games weren't like your number one thing? Because I remember you mentioned like G.I. Joes, and then you got older and started like focusing really on games. Was there ever a point in time when you like dropped out of games, or just it wasn't as interesting of a hobby?
It was always as interesting a hobby, but like having kids and stuff, I definitely had to put it to the side for a bit. Like it just wasn't like wasn't as into it when I had my daughter, and then also now with my son. Like games have kind of had to take a back seat for a while, but they've always still been like, okay, when am I going to get some time to get and play some games? So they've always been like a front and center. Like that's the thing that I want to do when I have the time to be able to do it. But there have definitely been seasons where it's been like, all right, you're not playing any games. There's just too much life going on. There's too many other things that need to come first. Right. But it's always like that. Okay, when am I going to get back to games? I'm going to get back to games. So it was never like a thing where I wasn't interested. It just ends up being more of a life is not letting me play type of thing. Becoming an adult, having 1,000 more responsibilities. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately. Adulting. God damn. You know, I hate that term. Like, cause, like real fast, like, you never heard my parents say the word adulting. Nope. It's like, you're a fucking adult. Like,
go get, you got a mortgage. You got shit to
Right.
do. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's what you boil it down to. Like, I'm sorry, you have a mortgage now. You have to, do adult things. But I never heard like adulting until later
Right.
on. Like somebody was like, I knew a person who I used to work at Best Buy with is like, God, I hate adulting. I'm like, I couldn't fucking roll my eyes hard enough. I'm like, Jesus Christ. You mean you have to pay your bills?
Mm-hmm.
You mean you have to have your own phone plan instead of being on your mom's? That's adulting.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Like,
I definitely remember hearing that from some of the younger Best Buy people. Like, really? That's a thing now? Okay.
That's a thing. Got it. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Working at Best Buy, that's a young man's game. Like, if you're the old dude working at Best Buy, you fucked up in life real bad.
Mm-hmm.
I quit.
If you aren't running the store, if you ain't the store manager or a manager, and you're one of the young ones, you're old.
Yeah,
you don't want to be like the 35-year-old dude on the sales floor selling,
fucking
service
computers.
plans.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on.
No, man.
You should be running this shit.
My favorite thing is there was like a threshold of like young dudes. Obviously, it was like all young people, and then there was like the super duper old dude that just like fucking like retired and wanted some fuck around money. So he just like, just go. And they always worked in appliances. And then,
oh my God, you're right.
they always worked in appliances. And then there was like, I remember like a dad, like a full on like dude who had like 6 kids, Mormon, like had his life together, just fucking worked at Best Buy selling computers. And he was all like happy and shit. And he's just like, yeah, man, I just like to work here for the fun of it. And I'm like, you're fucking weird, man. Like,
yeah, what
weird.
you mean the fun of it?
The
like,
fun of it. You like
real
hanging out with all these young
suspect.
peoples and shit, man.
Real suspect.
Why you hitting on the senior who just graduated high school, you fucking creeper? Like, get out of here, bro.
It's not cool.
That's not cool, man. She's kinder. Get the fuck out of here. You got 6 kids at home, you weirdo. But no, like, you, with, as far as it goes, like, growing up, and, yeah, I mean, obviously that right there, that puts a hold on a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But also, too, at the same time, I mean, as long as it's still a passion of yours, like, I've mentioned on the show before 1,000 times, skateboarding stopped me from playing video games for 4 years. I just fucking did not care. Also, girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly.
Yeah, I got like 4 kids and shit. Clearly. But like, with all that, but I mean, now, like, it's seriously, when I worked at the game store and how it all like flooded back in, I can't imagine it like not being a thing. Yes, I don't play games as often as I would like, but like, every day I'm on Reddit looking at all the gaming news and like just
absolutely
getting as much information from all this shit as I can, just because I don't think that part of it will ever go away. Me being able to like play games is a different story. Me giving a shit about games, I don't think is ever going to go away again.
Yeah, same here. Like, I'm constantly like that when I'm on my phone scrolling through all the Reddit stuff, scrolling through Twitter, scrolling through just any news I can get about video games. Like, I've always craved that. Like, even back in print media, like, I had subscriptions to everything.
Right.
And when you walk down the aisle and you saw all the magazines, like, you're looking for all the different video game ones. Like, it's always been a serious passion just to have the information of what's going on in gaming and like have your hand on the pulse, like what's going on. Like, I'm in the know.
Right.
So that'll definitely never change. Even when I'm not playing, when I'm in those periods, like, I'm still getting all the info.
Right. And the funniest thing in the world, and I always think back on this because you keep like you mentioned before, like, you had a subscription to Nintendo Power, and then, of course, there was GamePro and EGM and all that. What I never understood is, like, my mom would occasionally buy me a magazine, like, like that grocery store I was talking about. When you walk in, all the magazines were right front. I remember like just being like, Mom, please let me get this magazine. And I would and of course, the magazine's 200 pages and then 180 of it's advertisements. So you just stare at ads and shit. Because I mean, again, what else are you going to put in there? But the one thing I never made sense is like each magazine was like $5, but somehow a subscription for an entire year costs like $8. Like, it never fucking made sense. And I almost wanted to go like, hey, Mom, check this out. But then you had to mail in shit. And I think that's where the cutoff was, is like mailing in a postcard. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that's a lot of work. I'd rather just spend $5 a magazine a couple times a year, or you could pay, it was like $10 for the whole year. I
definitely had the sub. I had a subscription to EGM, GamePro, another one called Play. Like, I had the subs because I was like, I can just get a sub for the price that I'd be paying for 2 magazines. Yeah, let me do this.
for some reason, my mom never fucking saw that. She just, I think it was, again, like, it wasn't the ease of being able to just, like, go online and fill out a form. It was just like, oh no, you have to mail this and send a check and do all this. And my mom was like, I'm not doing all this shit. That's just, it's a lot of unnecessariness. And I remember they were giving away like subscriptions with like shirts and shit for like $15. You're like, but I can get a shirt, Mom. And
I gotta represent my stuff, man.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. So you had mentioned kind of like after N64, how that Nintendo faded away, and then it was kind of PlayStation. So during the next generation, did you still like did you even get a GameCube, or did you go PlayStation, or did you just go PlayStation?
I just went PlayStation.
Wow. So
this gen, like current gen right now, is the first time that I've had multiple consoles since the PS1 and 64 era.
Wow.
So this is my first Xbox. This is the Nintendo. I have a Switch. This is the first time that I've actually had anything other than PlayStation since PS1.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You went PS3 after they told you to get a second job?
Yeah. I sure did. I was like, because there was nothing on Xbox that I wanted to play. Like all the games that I was interested in were all on PlayStation, and I wasn't big into playing with other people. Like I didn't care about playing online if it wasn't World of Warcraft.
Right.
It just didn't matter. Like I was like, I'm single player. I don't really care about live. And they got Uncharted coming. This looks awesome. I want to play that. So it was just a matter of the games that were coming out for PS3 caught my interest more than what was coming on Xbox. So
that makes sense.
That's where I went.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I just think, like, I remember a lot of people, like, when Sony told them to get a second job, they were like, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not, like, how cocky are you to go, you will get a second job to afford our console? Like, that's a bit crazy. But I mean,
I thought that was absolutely terrible as well. But I happened to be lucky enough to be in college, and the financial aid check made that not even an issue.
Because, it's supposed to help with books and shit, but you need to have priorities. It was like dorm, food, PlayStation, and then education shit. Right?
Yeah, and even better, it was actually my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. She bought me the PS3. So
yo, that's love. That's why you wifed her up.
Yeah. Yep, she got me the PS3 and Madden. I was like, well, here's a ring.
You were like, you got a second job just to get me a PlayStation. I appreciate it. No, I mean, it's so funny because, like, around that was when I started working at the game stores, when I started getting everything. Like, I felt like at that time, that's when if you didn't have everything, you were going to miss something. And unfortunately, that's still the case today. The cool thing is now, with you having everything, is that, especially on the Xbox front, you literally have backwards compatibility to where you can go back and play literally the best shit from both the previous Xboxes. Like, you're not missing out anything. And then even on Switch, like the Wii and, I mean, Wii U even worse. But what's funny is, like, literally, like, it's so shitty for, like, the Wii U, for example, because that console bombed hard.
Yeah.
No one gave a fuck about it. But it had such good games that just sucked that they were stuck on that console. But if you have a Switch now, it's the greatest console ever because all of those great Wii U games are just getting deluxe added to it, and they're selling like crazy, and they deserve to because, like, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, New Super Mario Bros. U, Donkey Kong, fucking what else is at the deluxe treatment? Like, all these games keep coming out, and it's like, oh, they were on Wii U, but they didn't sell that well. But no, they're seriously good games. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is fucking great. Like, that is
one day I'll get that. One day when my daughter really wants to play, I'll get it because she has like the interest, but she's not quite there yet. So we have Mario Brothers Deluxe, and watching her try and play, it's so funny because she just hasn't grasped the controls yet. So watching her try to play Mario is hilarious, and like she keeps asking me for help, and I'm like, no.
Figure it out.
You're going to have to figure this out. When I was your age, my mom would have told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah. Like, she didn't even know how to fix it. She fucking grabbed the controller and jumped with it. Like, she didn't realize it.
You got to crawl for you up, baby girl. You got to figure it out.
There you go. How old is she?
She's 7.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, because I'm trying to remember what age my kids got into games, and I want to say my son was probably 7. However, and it's weird, but, like, he started on Minecraft on a tablet. And that kind of piqued his interest, and then eventually he got to the point where he's like, hey, what about the 360? Like, don't they have Minecraft on that? I'm like, yeah, they do. And like, that's what kind of got him. And then like the Lego games. By the way, so good at introducing not just kids, but like anyone to video games. Like, those are such good ways to do co-op, have fun. Even if they're not good at games, even if they're brand new to games, it's a good way for them to get into it. Like, I will always praise those games, and they're funny as shit. Yeah. But yeah, like, and then now he's, the cool thing that I'm really happy about is my daughter is fully into games. Like, my daughter loves the shit out of games. And it's not just like, she plays games like Roblox, which go right over my head. I don't fucking care about that. But she plays the shit out of Fortnite. Like, she really enjoys Fortnite. Yeah. She plays Mario Tennis. She plays, like, and she's fully into gaming to where my sisters were not. Like, my sisters didn't give a shit about games. But with her, like, I'm very happy to see that the one thing that really, like, made my mind open up a bit, and I was so happy to see her like this, is I was playing Trials Rising, which is such a fun game. Like, I love the Trials games. And we were playing, and, you know, I showed her how you can create, you know, we were just showing her all the customization. And the first thing she asked, which I didn't even think about, was, can you create a female? Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I wonder if you can. And I looked, and I was like, yeah, you can. And she, like, sparked up. She was like, oh, that's awesome. Never even thought about that kind of shit back in the day. Right. Never thought about that shit at all to begin with. Like, you know, for her to see, like, yes, you can create a female, and that is, like, a big deal to her, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like, I'm glad to see that she doesn't feel excluded when it comes to games. Now, hopefully, if she ever goes online and plays games, nobody talks evil to her, because I will fucking not be able to deal with that. Like, at all. And that's my fear with my daughter, because she really wants to play Fortnite, because she actually has a bunch of boys that she has, for some reason, most of her friends at school are all boys, and they play Fortnite. And she's like, "Daddy, I want to play Fortnite." I'm like, it's an online game. No. The whole online thing with the kids, that one was, number one, when it came to the party chat stuff, that's where I was like, the chatting with people, I was like, number one, you are not chatting with strangers. Period. Period. You are not doing that. My son, again, it got to a point where my son's like, Dad, a lot of my friends are playing. And thankfully, the way Xbox has their shit set up, you can do a lot of parental locks. You can, you know, limit a lot of different things that help make it easier and everything for him. Right. So I can make sure he actually can't add friends. Like, I would have to add friends on his behalf and stuff. As far as it goes, though, but, like, now, like, I'm still worried about even him. I'm like, dude, I don't want you talking to random old dudes. Like, sorry, I don't. But I monitor his friends list. But my daughter's the same way. Like, I basically block everything in the world to try to prevent her from hearing something terrible. But yeah, my son has gotten to the point now, though, where, like, his social fun is getting into a party and shit, you know, talking shit with his friends, like, but they're not even playing the same game, you know what I mean? Like, that's just their social interaction now, which, thanks to the internet, that is a thing. Yeah. You know, why go over to someone's house when you could just talk to them over the internet and be in your own house? Like, sorry, it's just easier now. We don't have to go to somebody else's house to do this shit anymore. But yeah, I mean, like, it's rough, but as long as you can, I mean, the only thing I'll say is if you're trying to do that shit on Switch, good luck with that. Nintendo can't even figure out their fucking online. With Xbox, though, with, like, party chat, that's the only thing that, like, with my son, every time I'm like, are you in a party? Like, are you talking to just your friends? Like, I cannot have you hear some of the shit these people say on the internet. Granted, I'm one of those people at times. But no, like, there's just, you know, you just got to make sure that you're, you know, the parental locks are nice. I will say, at least on Xbox, they're fantastic. On the Switch, they're yeah. I mean, the only other option too is just don't have a headset. Like, you can mute all chat and just, like, don't have a headset and do it that way. But again, like, the whole social, especially Fortnite being such a social game now. So that's how, I mean,
we'll see where I get her started. I may do it on PlayStation, because also the controller's too dang big for her hands. So like,
Yeah.
I actually tried to get her into, I think it was the Lego Marvel Superheroes game that came out like around the time the PS4 was first introduced, but she just couldn't get her hands around the controller. They finally came out with that little Corey controller. Yeah. So she's got that, and she can handle that. But like the regular PS4 controller, the Xbox controller, because she's tiny. Yeah. She just has small hands, so it's just like this ginormous thing she's trying to wrap her hands around, and she just can't.
Yeah, I remember when I worked at the game store, they had a brand of controller that was like a Mad Catz one, but it was called the Microcon.
The Micro, yeah, I remember that thing.
And like, they had a variety for GameCube. Dude, the GameCube Microcon was like a fucking baby's controller. It was so small because the GameCube was already like not a big controller, and then that bitch was so tiny. Like, and then the Xbox and PlayStation, and everybody had one, but like, I remember that thing selling like crazy when I worked at the game store. I'd be like, and it was also like $5 cheaper than a normal controller. So like, some people bought it just because it was cheaper, but also I'm like, oh no, it's smaller. It actually fits in your hands a little easier, especially for kids. We would fucking sell those things all day. It was just, it was way easy. So no, that makes sense. So those Joy-Cons are real tiny though.
Yeah, God, Joy-Cons.
I fucking hate those Joy-Cons. I hate them. What's funny, I have a Switch. I don't travel much, so I never really take it with me anywhere. I work from home, so like, I'm home. Yeah. But like, the only games I've played on the Switch that I've like really carried and played and beat is Zelda and Mario. Mario Kart, and like, we do family stuff here, but like 95% of the time I've played my Switch, it's been docked, and I have a Pro Controller. Real quick, Pro Controller might be like the best controller Nintendo's ever made. It's real fucking good. Like,
I really want one. It's just really expensive.
It's like, really expensive, yeah. Battery life on that controller, I am not kidding. That's the biggest complaint I hate about PlayStation, is that controller battery life is trash. I can't stand it.
I've never had the controller down me while I've played, which I'm like, what's wrong with you people? What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm playing Horizon or Spider-Man, and fucking 4 hours later, my controller's like low battery.
I've never had that problem. And I have played like Destiny raids, like played for 6 hours, and the controller was fine. I'm like, oh, shut off, man. I can't call it.
The Pro Controller on the Switch, I'm not kidding you, it's like a 35 or 40 hour battery, and it's not a fucking lie. Like, it is so on point, and I was just like, 35 hours. All right. I played all of Odyssey and never charged it.
Wow.
Like, this is nuts. Even the Xbox can't compete with that. But yeah, Switch Pro Controller, cool. Buy it on sale though. That shit's real expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best Buy has refurbs of them. You can get them. You can do that. But get a warranty. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I know, right? Get the service plan. Just swap it out for a new one, right?
I remember the best thing in the world. Yeah, basically. I remember the best thing in the world was when people bought the Elite controllers for Xbox. Everyone and their mother was like, just go buy it at Best Buy and buy the service plan, because in case that shit breaks, they will literally just swap it out that day with another one. And there's like no issues. They don't fucking question nothing. They're just like, all right, go get another. And they just swap it out.
Yeah, I've got friends who do that with the consoles. They'll just get the service plan and be like, all right, at the end of the service plan, let me just go get a new one just in case.
Yeah, basically, right? I did that. I've done that with the controllers. Like, because Best Buy had the one free controller replacement, and I'd be like, something broke. Don't work. Yep. And they're like, all right, go get a new controller. Like, that's as simple as it is. So, again, but we don't do shady things, like swap games, rentals, or,
No, we're on the up and up here.
They're all alleged. It's allegedly. We did all
allegedly.
Exactly. As far as it goes, if people wanted to check you out on the internet today, where would they go?
You can check me out on Twitter at Dev A. Tyus. That's pretty much my bread and butter. That's the best place to find me. I'm always on the Twitterverse, talking trash, looking for things. That's the best place to find me. You can also find me, if you want to, our Discord channel for PSVG. So psvg.com or discord.com/PSVG. Come chat with us. We're always chatting. It's a free Discord. Just jump in and chat with the guys from there.
And that's where you can find me. Check out any of those things, I'll have links in the show notes for all the above. So if you guys want to check it out there, you can do that. So, dude, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for sharing all the allegedly awful, illegal things we may have done. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was a blast. It was a blast.
All right. And again, thank you, Devin, for being on the show. Guys, if you want to check him out on Twitter, go ahead and follow him at Dev A. Tyus. That's DEVATYUS. Tyus. Of course, he's a member of the PSVG crew, and he also has his own podcast, one half of the PSVG OT podcast. I'll have links in the show notes for all of the above, so you guys can go ahead and check him out there. Again, if you guys want to be on the show just like he was, send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast. Of course, we have the website, gugpodcast.com, the Facebook group, Growing Up Gaming, just search that on Facebook, and on YouTube, GUG Podcast, just search that there. If you guys want to, the best part about this show is the fact that I've been able to reach out to people who have been followers of the show who haven't reached out to be a guest. I just want to put it out there. I would love to hear from every one of you guys. So if you guys enjoy the show, if you guys want to share your stories, make sure you reach out to me. Of course, if you guys want to know somebody who has awesome stories, please send them my way so that way we can get everybody on this show. So again, thank you guys so much for listening each and every week. Don't forget to subscribe, review on iTunes, give a thumbs up on YouTube, and I will catch you guys next week with another new episode. See ya.